Yeah, hit start recording. We're talking curses. Yay.
What? No!
It's it. Balls in your court, Logan. What are we talking about?
That's not fair. Curses are really complex and convoluted and come from like 8 different cultures and mean different things across all of them, and I only know a quarter. And also, I burped.
You got hit by the burp curse, Logan. It's terrible. But we're in it, so... But I got interested looking into this subject in general because that's actually something I've been thinking about recently, where one of my players who's a paladin mentioned that to me. Hey, I'm immune to curses. When is this going to come into effect? And I had to really think about it and be like, God, you're right. I think that's come up twice in like a year-long campaign we've been doing.
Mm-hmm. And in D&D, it's great because there's the spell Remove Curse. There's the spell Bestow Curse. That is only permanent if you cast it at 9th level, which nobody gets, so there's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
It's like 3rd level to remove a 9th level curse without any saving throws or anything. Like, you can't alter the magic in any way, and it's stinky, stinky poo-poo.
Wait, hang on. Isn't eye bite considered curses as well?
No.
Well, daggum. Okay, because
it's literally only the one spell.
Because doing my research on it, I heard some people, like that was something I saw on Reddit, people saying of just, there's some things that feel like they should be a curse, but aren't classified as one.
Yeah. A good example of that is with legendary magic items, you get, especially the evil aligned ones, you get detrimental properties. Those are not curses, so you can't banish them. But they're the best example that we have in D&D of what a curse should look like. Like, they'll give you physical deformities, they'll give you emotional impulses, they'll give you psychotic, like, fears of random things. I like the one where, like, all small or tiny plant life within a 5-foot radius of you just withers and dies. Like, random cool stuff like that.
Yeah, I have one where one of my players, for the rest of the campaign, while he had an item attuned to him, all animals hated him.
Yeah.
That was a really good one of just like any situation where like you went into a druid's camp and next thing you know an entire zoo is just like squaring up with him and it's like no.
I know.
Oh, like, go ahead.
Sorry.
Sorry. Just a
fucking go ahead.
Yeah, just a loop
we cut you off like 3 times.
I'm cutting you off, Mario. You lost your chance.
Never mind.
But yeah, just because what I saw is like some monster features that function like you think a curse would, but they're not labeled a curse. I'm just going.
Yeah.
Because a good one he really mentioned was the Sibirex. I think it's what it's called. The
what?
That one fiend that is a bunch of big old piles of flesh chained together from Mordecai's Tome of Oaths.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's page 137, Logan.
I have never fucking seen that bastard used.
It is really cool, and I like the theme of them where they're just this ancient, these just ancient floating heads that are absolutely warped and evil, but they got a crazy ability called Warp Creature, where they target up to 3 creatures within 120 foot of it. Each of them must make a DC 20 con save. On a successful save, they're immune to the warp creature. On a failed save, they're poisoned, which causes them to get 1 level exhaustion. While poisoned this way, the target must repeat these saving throws and gets the poison until it ends. Any poison removes any levels of exhaustion caused by it. Each failed saving throw causes the target to suffer another level of exhaustion. Once the target reaches 6 levels of exhaustion, it dies and instantly transforms into a living abyssal wretch under the Sibirex's control. Transformation can only be undone by a wish spell. That would be an amazing curse, but it's just a feature.
Yeah, flesh warping. There's a whole... this is the worst thing that they did in this book, I think, with this specific page, is you have a tiny little like paragraph of text, and then on the other page, you have the rest of the info that's cut off from his big... Yeah.
Yeah, because...
I would never have even...
Yeah, they're really cool, because I think they're the ones that like are just made of refuse of all the other demons just lumped together, forming like the form this amalgamation of demon remains.
Because this is...
They're kind of like the predecessors of the demons. They're like the first lump of flesh.
The big lumpus.
Yeah, I was going to say really quick, in their table of flesh warping that you get on the back, like a bunch of random examples, the character's head can double in size, like a PS2 cheat code. That's awesome.
Fucking, I don't know if is that what I looked at? I remember I did a thing where I had used Fomorians in like a previous campaign. And I remember having this thing of like, I really like the Fomorian's Curse of the Evil Eye. And the whole thing it does is it just deforms you. And I think I looked at some table and I had something like that happen where it was like just party goes down into like a cave. There's these Fomorians that are stalking them. And since Fomorians are good at sneaking, they couldn't see them yet. So it was just this fucking thing where all of a sudden a little gnome guy steps forward and he goes, well, it looks safe. And then suddenly Curse of the Evil Eye gets blasted on him. And the players just watch as his head swells to twice the size. And he takes like fucking like some ridiculous damage from it. So it's just this thing where it's just like his fucking head swells twice the size. And then immediately his head bursts from the fucking psychic damage and he just drops. And it's just like the fucking thing where the players are like,
That's crazy. I didn't know Fomorians could.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, both of those sound like the human curse or the curse spirit that is like fear of people from Jujutsu Kaisen. I forget his name. But when he touches people, he's able to fully alter everything but their mind, like the shape of their soul, which is
which Jujutsu Kaisen has a really cool way of doing it, but it only really works in their universe or like
it's too convoluted to work anywhere else. Yeah.
Because like it's Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen have very similar ideas of just like manifestations of emotions and ideas are what creates their monsters.
Which is interesting because that's the same as the outer planes. Like the lower planes are manifestations of human fears and the worst emotions you could have, just
kind of work for
bisected.
They go for more niche specific things like Chainsaw Man could be the Tomato Devil or like a fear of humans is Mojito or a feel of natural disasters creates Dagon stuff like that.
Where they just become these massive manifestations. I do like that it all takes place in the same setting. I forgot what else I was going to say. Jujutsu Kaisen does a good job of not just having spirits manifest over time as these sort of constant threads of fear, like Chainsaw Man does, where you can have a demon or like a ghost manifest from an instance or a person's moments in a certain point in time, like these capsulated moments that transform into a curse or a cursed spirit. Or and the movie did a good example of that.
I really enjoyed that about Jujutsu Kaisen. Just really cool power system there. I have mixed feelings about parts of it, but I enjoy it overall, as y'all can tell.
Fuck yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it's got cool concepts in it. That's always like the fucking, I don't know, like I like hearing about how some of the curses and stuff work. It's pretty. It's got cool bullshit going on, and it is I don't know, like it like. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do like the power system, but there's a couple major failings, I think, where when you have a technique, by explaining it to another character, it just supernaturally augments the technique, and that's not explained to the user any further than how I just explained it. Or the viewer. It's made up random bullshit just so they can tell you how their thing works. Not so they can tell the enemy, because the enemy would normally benefit from having that information and use it to manipulate their fighting style, but they never do. And just how, in order to explain the system, they have like the school courses, and there's just this one background character. There's like the guy with the beanie who's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's 6 major things you need to know for the next arc. And you're like, why are you telling me this way? It's, I don't know.
It was literally just their shoehorned reason of explaining things in their lore, which
it feels very shoehorned.
I can at least respect that. It isn't just like my power level is this, and this is what my stand does. It has no weakness.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't go for the JoJo stand model exactly, where they figure it out as they go. Go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say even with the JoJo stand model, there's something. Yeah. There's something. There's something about it where it's just like I kind of like that sometimes. Some of the stuff in later parts, it's not that the guy is explaining it. It's just as you're reading through the chapters, the fucking stand is explained in like a little stand profile or some shit, and you just have to like. It's slowly fed, if anything, through the narrative of like how this works. Where it's like even
you say slowly when we got an entire Wikipedia article having to explain what these kite things are and if they exist, if they don't exist.
That shit.
True. Yes. No, I do think that one was stupid. And you know what's funny is I was very into cryptid stuff at one point. So like there was
you knew about those because they were they're the corner of cryptids.
I did, and I just see Dio's sons. This is so cool. I remember Dio's children. I hate them.
Dumbass gambit cow looking ass.
I remember seeing those things, and I remember it being like I remember. Did you ever see that show Monster Quest on fucking History Channel? Where it was like
I'm aware of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I used to watch a bunch of those, and they had an episode on that, and I remember even like watching that, I was just like. That's just like a fucking defect in like the camera.
Your eyeball.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's literally like
I see those things and it's because my eyes are falling apart. Like they're always there. And it's not because they're there.
It's either that or it's just like, oh, here's this picture that somebody took. Do you notice that? The gorilla noticed that because they're an animal and they have heightened senses. But like to the camera, only the camera can really take a picture of it. And it's like this thing of like, it's literally like dust in the air or something like that, or
ghost
something
orbs.
caused a glare. Yeah, it's like ghost orb type of shit. And it's like, dude, what the fuck are you on about? And like the fact that they put it in, I was like, okay, Rocky. I'll let you fucking try, but like this kind of sucks. Like what is this?
Yeah. Jojo Leon was full of that, but if we could jump back to curses, because I still don't really know. I do want to, there's like excerpts in the Bible, and it's really funny in Christianity. Like curses should be an evil Satan thing, right? Like demons and warlocks. We've never seen, as to the best of my knowledge, any demon or warlock or worshiper of Satan cast a curse. It's just God or God's people that fuck you up. Like they will curse you in the worst way possible. There's one, I have it referenced for the script of the video I'm planning on writing. Joshua pronounced his solemn oath, and this is after they walked around Jericho to destroy it. It's like, cursed before the Lord is the one who undertakes to rebuild the city Jericho. At the cost of his firstborn son, he will lay its foundations. At the cost of his youngest, he will set up its gates. In the Bible, the main thing they do when they curse people is just someone around you dies, or you die. That's about it, or you suffer. It's just constant suffrage.
Going to get screwed.
Yeah.
Screw
you ain't gonna be no king.
We don't need no figs.
Yeah, screw it, actually. But because I know,
or Paul got blinded for like a week. That's arguably a curse.
Oh, that's true.
I'd say the plagues getting brought down would qualify as well.
Yeah, that one's crazy. That was the angriest I ever saw that dude up in the sky. But there's also like when they were forced to leave the Garden of Eden. It's like curse you, curse you, curse you, get out. Yeah. And that's what he did to all three of the main characters.
And
I know
Bloodline got cursed as well. That was another thing.
That's another big one. But in like Wiccan and Celtic beliefs, because that's where like witches and curses get most associated. Cursing is not really a major thing in their magic, from what I understand. I can only really get into a decent surface level when it comes to that kind of stuff, because, you know, all other fields of how they've been misconstrued, it's hard to find the truth. But to the best of my knowledge, a curse, like the Pokemon move, does just as much damage to the person who enacts it and enforces it and does rituals to see it through as the person they're cursing. So it's sacrificial magic on both counts just to cause misery.
Yeah, you know,
that is
really
fun.
Fits into Jujutsu Kaisen theme.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
that's a fun.
It feels like one of the things that the idea of curses just existed since the beginning of time, but no one truly knew what it meant. And so people kind of filled in the gaps, like with their knowledge of what it could mean, and all these different societies got a different interpretation of it since.
Yeah, you know what? You saying that makes me think, because obviously I could say fuck you, and nobody, like, Big Dick Randy's not going to run into the room and fuck you because I said that. I want him to, but he won't.
Not the Randy curse. Don't put that on me, Logan.
I'm sorry. I mean, Halloween already passed, so he's back in his hyper chamber. Yeah.
That's haunted this town for the last 3 generations, Logan. You can't joke about that.
If you haven't heard the song Big Dick Randy, go check it out. But like, curse words is literally just me wishing evil upon you. I know in Hawaii they have a really common one where it's something like, I hope a centipede bites you. Just like, I wish bad things happen to you. And it's just, the main thing that a curse is, it's rebuking in the sense that it is done as a response to someone. You don't fling around curses to people who've done nothing to you. There's no way or reason to do that.
A curse upon both your houses.
A curse upon your cow.
Salt upon your field, salt upon your cow.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like even looking at like the Fomorian one, like thinking on it, where it's just like I think about like the fact they can curse people just out of the fact that they themselves have been like disfigured. They've been like forced. They themselves have a curse, but by them having a curse, they can extend it on to other people. Where it's just like, oh, I'm ugly, so I can force you to also be ugly. I use my evil eye ability and I blast you with ugly.
The plot of Shallow Hal.
Yeah.
Oh.
What a fucking what an out of pocket reference.
Wow. I think yeah, no, that tracks. I think well, yeah, even in Greek mythology, most of the curses that were kind of laid down were no, even witches in Greek mythology did it. Like Circe was cursing people into becoming pigs, and gods would just throw out curses if you just told them no. So I mean, you know how that goes.
Yeah, but they're petty.
Yeah,
bitches up in heaven.
Yeah. But it's interesting when it comes to D&D because it feels like it's used mostly for magic items, and because I just looked it up under keywords in D&D Beyond, just like curse, and there's very few things that seem to necessarily have an ability says this is a curse that they can use.
It's almost nothing.
Which most of the time, the dungeon master, the spellcaster enemy has bestow curse or remove curse.
That's it. Yeah, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, there's also an appendix, and they stopped doing appendixes because, I don't know, appendicitis in books, I guess. Yeah. But the only thing that curses exists in is cursed items, and it's this small little paragraph that it's like, yeah, maybe an item can be cursed. Just figure out like what it does and why it's like that. Yeah. And that's it. That's the only little paragraph that exists. It's like 5 sentences maybe in the whole book.
Yeah. It feels like it was left.
And fucking bestow curse, the spell in 2014 was like, yeah, you can bestow a curse on a creature and there's like ability score changes, blah blah blah. And it says later, like, or if a DM is okay with it, you could come up with a cool little thing and then that'll happen instead. In 2024, they said, fuck that. You're not allowed to have fun. There's no variance to curses, just affects ability scores. They made the spell shit. They keep taking away creative angles of it in this year.
I actually had that popped up in my game now that I think about it, because I remember Yari actually having that where she used bestow curse on something. They're like, can I do this with it? And I was like, what level spell is that? And they're like, oh, it's like a 3rd level. And I was like, that's kind of similar to like some of the other stuff. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, no, that sounds cool. I'll allow it.
Yeah. Can I
and it only lasts like a minute.
To where the fruits never grow because this merchant didn't give me a deal?
Yeah. Well, that's just salt. That's
Yeah.
the number one curse that they used to do, and it's just like in the middle of the night, I'm gonna come and piss all over your plants and dump all my salt on it so that the soil is forever damaged and you can't grow anything. Because that is a huge problem to have actual salt in your fields.
Oh yeah.
You're done for. You're cooked.
Oh yeah. I'm right next to Georgia. I know all about that.
Mm-hmm.
How would you feel if a player was like, DM, this NPC wronged me. Can I use bestow curse to make him impotent? Would you allow it?
I would let bestow curse take someone's balls. Like at third level, it happens. It happens for like a minute, so you can be like, meh. In Gravity Falls, she takes Stan's hands in that one episode because he like steals a watch.
He takes his balls.
Yeah, she takes his balls. In Dan to Dan, they take Stan's balls.
Dan to Dan.
If you're going to do it to where they're impotent though, and it only lasts for a minute, you'd have to basically snipe them, wait until the moment strikes, and be like, and ha.
You hire an evil hag to fucking scry on him, and right when he's about to come, you remove his balls.
Now just take his carrot if he's that comfortable.
Like,
oh no, they have nowhere to go.
I'm like picturing like you take his dick away while he's about to come, and he goes, "Oh no, there's nowhere for it to." It just fucking like explode. He
just explodes into viscera.
There's nowhere for it to go. It's like a balloon. He just pops.
Like old movie prop effects.
It's like you have this moment where it's like a fucking paper mache guy that replaces him and he just explodes.
It's just like they cut in one frame to a bag of milk and they blow it up.
My mind went the opposite way. I was thinking that scene from the Scary Movie, like when the guy actually did. I'm not going to say what happened, but it's you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, cursing people. So,
I mean, yeah, we're right on topic still.
I consider that a curse, but yeah, because I feel like that's just thinking fairy tales and all that curses, like taking away your firstborn, making you fall asleep for 10,000 years, making you sleep until Prince Charming kisses you because you desired to kiss from Prince Charming. Mwah. Now,
some fairy tale anger.
Yeah, I was looking at monsters that are able to do it and actually says curse, and it seems like demi-liches are ones. Then there's more and more that just have just bestow curse.
Wait, demi-lich have bestow curse?
Yeah, they have the vile curse, which is until
vile curse is different.
Yeah. Well, it says until the curse ends, so I would say that counts as a curse.
It's
yes.
Curse.
I thought you were saying creatures that could do bestow curse specifically, not.
Oh no, that's
just fully refuting you.
Okay, like because if I was doing that, this would be how long the list is. But the list of creatures that just have a curse is like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm curious. Because there's the evil eye curse, technically.
Yeah. So Fomorians, there's Vargoyles from Mordenkainen Presents the Monsters of the Multiverse. There's also measles from Monsters of the Multiverse. So it seems like
they're
Monsters
in Baldur's
Multiverse, someone on that design team was like, we're putting god dang curses.
There's also a bunch of cursed items that seem unique in the Book of Everything, I think. Or the Book of Many Things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have that one on hand, but I do know there's like 8 out of the total of 16 cursed items that are in there. They're pretty fun. They're a lot more gimmicky than the other ones, like demon armor, where the curse is, oh, you're really good at punching, but you can't punch demons at all, and demons can kill you really easily because it's demon armor. I do like the Berserk's axe and the Iron Hand of Vecna, obviously, and the Sword of Kaz is really good too. The Berserker axe is like, no one can touch my weapon. I will never cheat on my weapon. I am married to my weapon. I will never use another weapon, and it will see blood every day. The Sword of Kaz is really cool because when you draw it, It's like, coat me in blood immediately. And if you fail within a minute, say like the fight is over and you like the guy gets thrown off a cliff or something and you don't have access to blood to coat it, it will then possess you and find a way to do that without killing you. It will just steal your body and you'll like start like Doflamingo just cutting through people.
Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's honestly like it's brutal, but by the time you find a fucking weapon like that, it's like a thing of like, dude, you like,
Yeah.
I would have that like higher tier kind of play of just like, I have found this sword and it begs for blood.
It's like a trade-off of if you are at the player level where you can get legendary items, you're trading off exponential power beyond like level 20 or so. But you have to do some roleplay stuff or some confines that
I
like
reject my humanity, Jojo.
yeah. I've always loved that
Also
sort of angle of The Boys where the only reason these infinitely powerful characters don't do whatever they want is because they have like citywide or global confines that if they act, more people will die than they plan on killing. It's just this massive sort of confine, and that should be true for the higher level powers that you have.
Yeah. And a few other examples I found as well. One I remembered off the top of my head was mummies. Their rotting fist ability actually functions as a curse.
Yeah.
The rotting curse, where you just die over time.
Yeah, that is a good curse. Like, that's something that is just fun to apply to other undead as well. So, mummies and mummy lords have that. Visantes have the built-in curse, actually, where they have their
What's a Visante?
That is the race from Curse of Strahd, the group that was working for Strahd.
The humanoid ones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Huh. Yeah, they
isn't it Visani or
I think
Visante,
whatever.
I'm pretty sure is their name.
Yeah.
Versace.
Yeah, that was they had an innate curse on them. It'd actually be pretty easy to make them as a human variant. You just give them their curse, actually. Let's see. There's also Western Kern from Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. He has some kind of curse here. I'm getting a limited amount because I'm not paying for D&D Beyond because
no, that's fine. Fucking. Well, it's
just because stats elsewhere.
That was it. Because there's times where there is some old things that like bestow curse, or not bestow curse, but remove curse and things like that.
Yeah.
Are like a thing where it's just like, how often is this going to come up? And it's very sad to me because it's like a thing of like, clearly this is a remnant of like past games.
Yeah.
And they just, like, in the end, there are certain things that I have put into the game because, like, it's like a thing of a player asks, could remove curse work on blank or something like that, and it's like
Ghosts would be a good example.
Sure. Yes, or like, actually, I had a thing with in my game. There was a situation where it's like, oh, there are these witches, they're stealing people's shadows, and there's like a situation where like people would find, like, what the players end up finding is like, oh, there was like a powerful NPC whose shadow got stolen, and the players had to keep fighting his shadow. And it's like this thing of him like popping up, and it's just like, well, shit, what do we do about this? The guy is still alive. Like, we have him here. How did this happen? And it turns out, oh, he can't see it, but there's like a magical sigil that has been placed over him, or there's like something placed on him. And like in the night, like one of these like hags or somebody snuck in and did some sort of ritual on him to remove his shadow. So it's this thing where they're like, could I do remove curse? And it's just like, yeah, that could work. And he just
yeah.
I actually have a problem with remove curse, and it's the same that I have with remove disease, where it basically, in having that spell that is that absolute and direct, there's no reason to have a curse in the game, especially when it's divine magic, where a cleric can just wait till tomorrow and then have that spell no matter what. It's not something a wizard has to go find. It's something that a god just gives you for free when you've gathered so many XP points, which sucks. But
I kind of feel the same about identify, so I get that.
Yeah, Identify doesn't reveal curses, which is fun, but say you have Identify with a wizard and then you have a cleric, and then the wizard's like, oh no, it's good to go, and then it's not. One day later, the DM just wrote all that for nothing. It's gone. There's no reason for him to have done that. So,
anything
like, I want more sicknesses that can't be solved with a simple low-level piece of magic.
Yeah,
I would either
remove curse. That's my hashtag.
I think the thing, like even in my end of that, what I end up doing sometimes is, yeah, the players can use remove curse or certain things like that, but they can only do it to a certain extent. Like there's a point of like, yeah, you could like rest, but what if you can't rest? Where it's like a situation of like, even in that point when that came up, there are other NPCs that they found out, oh fuck, there's like 10 of you that also have this placed on you. And it's like this moment of just like, well shit, we can't remove all of their curses like at once, and then it's all of a sudden like just these other like shadow creatures come in and it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that works just if you're like in a dungeon run. Like that can be like a real hindrance when your spells are a good are expendable resource. Something I messed with as well is making a tier system for the curses. Like a remove curse, like 3rd level can only remove like a minor curse, but like a bestow curse, like expel, but higher tier ones you gotta charge it to like maybe a 5th level or higher to actually get rid of.
You know what I would like actually? If in order to cast the spell remove curse, you have to have like a key point or a way to unlock the curse, and then you can cast the spell. Not a key point, but like some sort of key or answer to, like, you need to know why the curse was set in place or what caused it, and you need to take one step toward forgiving that transgression before you can even cast it.
Performing some sort of
you know what would be cool?
Or returning stolen gold or this or that. Like, in order for the spell to even work, you need to remove the cause of the curse.
Yeah, because I think that could be a fun example, is like narratively wise having to do something like Pirates of the Caribbean. That was an amazing setup with that curse there, but so that's a great example. But I was even thinking of sometimes, I feel like I've seen it in a few things, but Drag Me to Hell is the first thing that came to mind because that's a recent movie about a curse I saw, where I feel like I've seen that trope before of when getting rid of a curse or a possession, they banish it through the body, but it has to go somewhere. So they make it go to like the body of they made it go to like a body of a sacrificial animal, and they kill the animal, and that gets rid of the curse. Like some kind of ritual to it more than just like.
I mean, that's what Jesus did to Legion, right? It was like 70,000 trillion billion demons in one guy's cock, and then he's like, going to that pig. And then he sent the pig off a cliff, and all the demons apparently took full fall damage, and that was that.
Yeah, all the pigs. all the pigs drowned themselves, if I remember right.
That was my favorite.
This goes back to the discussion. Yes, maybe like fucking normal weapon damage can't hurt them, but fall damage is always gonna hurt them.
There we go.
Emotionally, it reminds them of the time that they fell.
As Jesus took the devil up to the top of Mount Olive when he was praying for 40 days, and he just picked up the devil and primary lotused him off the mountain, and it got absolutely wrecked him.
He ulted the devil, I remember that. You know, Jesus cursed, like he magically used his Jesus powers to curse like a fig tree or like an orange tree, right?
Yeah, so I was making a fig tree joke earlier.
Yeah, no, I wanted to reiterate that for maybe the viewers who don't know that. Because that is an interesting thing. He got so mad at just one tree in the middle of nowhere on a rock, and he was like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, to the tree.
I don't think he said that, but basically.
Yeah. Jesus got so mad. He like stubbed his toe on it or something.
Jesus said, "The frick to you."
Even as a kid, I was like, why'd Jesus do that?
Why'd he do that? But thinking on like the key, or go ahead, what were you going to say?
I was only going to say, like, kind of expanded that. It feels like curses are used like more narratively than anything. Like
they should be,
because I like the idea of it being both, but there should be some more tier system if we're doing somewhere in the middle. But we see it a lot in D&D, where like Kinkus, they can't talk because of a curse. Lycanthropes, exists as a curse.
Yeah.
Would that fix them? I never thought about that. Could you like undo that?
No, because that's a god's curse.
Yeah.
Like a god specifically got mad at them, and so they're like a result of a curse, if that makes sense. So to cast that curse would turn them into feathers or something.
Well, I guess it's kind of like the same reason you can't really do that to a fucking
to lycanthrope
shifter.
Or a pure-blooded vampire because curse of vampirism.
Yeah, like I was saying, you should technically be able to use remove curse on a vampire or like a werewolf, but you need to have some relevant component, something that pertains specifically to that curse, like a fang from the werewolf that bit them or something would be cool.
I've done some stuff before, like even in the sense of like I've done like a combination thing before where it's like, oh, they're trying to like players are trying to remove a thing, and like somebody suggests remove curse, but it's like, well, that's too easy. You need to add like an extra thing to it, so it becomes like a thing of like, okay, I'm gonna cast this and remove curse, and we like did this other thing to make sure that they're like weakened or something like that. It's like a step by step kind of process where it's like there's like it's kind of like bringing up Don earlier, where it's like a fucking thing where I'm like, you know, you could like narrative wise be like, yeah, you could use remove curse to like remove the curse on his balls. The issue is the curse is on his balls. You have to find his balls.
Yeah. Find what was taken.
If you're doubting anything he says, this is the plot of the Don. Watch it. It's
I got somebody to fucking I got somebody to watch it where they're like, is this some fucking anime shit? And it's like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. And they're like, okay, explain to me the plot as to why I should watch it. And I'm just like, okay, so there's a guy, and he ends up. No, it's a thing. It's like there's a guy, and he ends up coming across this like yokai thing. Like there's like yokai stuff going on, you know, evil Japanese spirit kind of things going on.
What's her name, Mario? What's the name of this yokai?
The fucking oh my god, it's like is it the
I was gonna build a rapport with you. It's Turbo Granny.
Turbo Granny, that's the one. Yes.
A real I was about to say in like Japan, Turbo Granny.
Turbo Granny. But I basically explained it as like, so there's a guy, he has to deal with like yokai stuff. He comes across he comes across this evil like grandma spirit that steals his penis and balls, and now he is on a journey to get them back. No, it's both. It was both at first, and then he got his dick back, and now he lost his balls. Yeah, but it's like a thing where it's like I was like, so the rest of the plot is he's trying to get his dick and balls back, and the guy's like quiet, and he goes, okay, I actually really want to watch this now. And he's like, is that actually the plot? And I'm like, that is the plot. And he goes, okay. So we watched like 3 episodes, and he's like, this show fucking kicks ass. This is awesome.
Okay. I want my wife to watch it, but like I'm watching the first episode, and just the things she says, if she gets really, really weird with it, and then also with the aliens and Momo, I'm like, I cannot show her this first episode with zero context. I gotta ease her in a little more.
Michaela felt the same way.
I watched it with Box at one point, and they were just like, wow, this episode. Hey, Box. I watched it with Box at one point. They were like, I was watching with Box and Yari, and it was this thing where it was just like, whoa, this episode got amped up real fucking fast.
Yeah, that banana was nearly given. It was crazy.
Yeah. Fucking curses.
Yeah, well, to go back to Jesus, the funny thing is Jesus woke up one morning, he was like, my tummy do be rumbling. I am part human after all. So he went over to a fig tree, and he literally reached at it, like his eyes were so groggy and crusted over with Jesus eye boogers, and all he found were leaves. No figs, nothing delicious. So he screamed at the fig tree, and he was like, may you never make food again. And then the next day it withered. And I think he just got really mad and like tugged on it a little bit and like broke the roots, so it died really fast. And then one of his disciples was like, oh my god, Jesus, your magic words killed the tree. And he's like, yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
He was really pissed because his peanut farm withered.
Yeah,
his peanut farm withered.
Peanuts.
But don't
May you never make peanuts again.
Sorry.
I'm reading the Bible verses right now. Yeah, that's nearly word for word. Obviously, the cleaned up version, because I don't imagine the ancient Jews are just like, oh hell, man,
My peanut
Jesus, how
my
could
peanut
you,
farm
man?
was shit.
Leaves. I can't eat those. I'm not a.
My peanuts went sour.
My peanuts went sour. My peanuts went south. South of the border.
Because the Earth's going south. I gotta get crucified.
I do like the idea of curses being part of like a spirit of something other than the, because like, say if what I said was correct about a Celtic or Wiccan like magic, where if you do something negative you lose a part of yourself, but if this is something that can access sort of the either metaphysical spirits or the spirits of objects like in animism, maybe there are spirits that curse people that aren't just people cursing people. So if you trespass into a forbidden or sacred area, it's the area itself that is holding that magic tied to you. And I think it also, in that way, it functions really well for like trials, where you enter an area and the whole time you're there, you're suffering a curse. And it's, if you can endure that curse, then you deserve the item that you get at the end. Or that curse actively keeps the item or the area or the person in check. So like, a good example is just the spell that Doctor Strange had on his little gemstone on his chest, where like you can't touch it and it hurts your hand. That's it.
Oh yeah,
It's something simple like that.
Short and sweet.
Or it's like talking about like the connection to like a spirit or something. I could see stealing the idea of like, you know, the basic ghost stat block. Yeah. I could picture something like possession going off, and while they're possessing you, there might be like some sort of curse, almost like having Don on the mind. It's like the idea of just like, oh yeah, while you're cursed with this, like, while this spirit is possessing you, or it's like stuck inside of you. It's not like you can just do like, oh, remove curse and like force the spirit out. You'd have to do like a combo of like, oh, fucking protection from evil and good or some shit, or like
to make sure like it doesn't rip part of you out when it goes.
Yeah. Maybe even like got to get in like a hollowed ground or something like that, because I know
that too. Yeah,
that's a neat aspect of some cleric spells I don't see used enough, where you got to actually use like a holy body part, since that's a popular belief of consecrated like saint bones being like a magic item that you can use.
Where have I heard that before?
That's a common belief in Did I accidentally quote something you said earlier?
No, dude, Steel Ball Run.
Yeah, it's Steel
Ball
Ball
dang
Run.
it.
The corpse parts.
Yeah, the corpse parts. The bones of Jesus.
Look, I try not to think of Steel Ball Run, because I know when it gets animated, I'm going to be insufferable, man. I love that anime so much. I love the manga so much. I'm going to be dressed as Gyro Zeppeli on the regular going to the club.
Awesome. That would be fucking cool, actually. You'd pull off a good gyro.
That is one, I know I can never make it, but I kind of want to just see if I can buy a Gyro Zeppeli cosplay.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I love Gyro. Cool.
Get them orbs.
I love the man and his pizza song.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza pasta.
All right. Yeah. But anyways, so I feel like that's something that could probably work for that as well, when just like maybe like the only thing to counteract a curse is just like is a force of pure good like that. It's an aspect I've really been liking to use of just hollowed ground or like tainted grounds, and just like how you create stuff like that, because it was a little subplot in Strahd I thought was really neat, where Strahd stole the body of a saint that was left in his castle, but if you get the bones from the castle and return it to his burial sites, it gives a hollowed effect to a certain area, and gives just like a whole buff to Barovia. Which things like that, just think are neat ideas to just like I don't know. There's curses on the land, but I feel like
where there's like layers of curses in a certain area where you have to perform like a little Banjo-Kazooie style, collect them all, and each time you do something, the world gets a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm just doing
that's cool.
I'm doing what I can not to reference Jujutsu Kaisen or Dandadan every 5 seconds.
Oh yeah.
It's like too fresh on the mind.
55 cursed fingers that you got to go gobble up.
Yeah. You know me, I love eating some fingers.
I love eating fingers.
A couple of those did look really tasty. Put some Cajun spice on that.
Yeah. God, sucking on fingers.
What happens if you sukunda fingers?
Sukuna fingers.
My question is, what if 2 people did the Lady and the Tramp thing and ate 2 parts of a finger?
Chopped down in the middle. It's supposed to be the density of a carrot.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know, because that's something I think is good, and we'll talk about earlier, is just like the people in the Jujutsu Kaisen world are cursed themselves, and that's how they're able to counteract curses. Especially the strongest one being like Yuta himself being cursed.
Just having the manifestation of
love.
I get because negative feelings generally happen for a reason, and that's why so often the curses are like
philosophical there.
No, that's the most basic thing you could possibly say.
You're getting pretty deep there, Logan. Chill out, man.
Listen, I'm 12.
I'm about to have to throw some reticle at you. Keep going.
Well, okay. I was just trying to tie that shit to the fact that curses are usually a response to a transgression. That's all I was trying to say.
Oh,
so that is done really well in that sense.
I'm sorry,
I was just bringing baby points full circle.
I had to be a jerk.
No, you gotta
you beautiful assholes.
But no, you bring up a good point, because I do really like that idea too, especially in like a narrative sense of just like, oh, you fucking if anything, that is a fun thing to play with on a curse, of just like some powerful NPC of sorts. Like you cross somebody and it turns out like it's just like, I don't know, it's like it turns out they're a hag and they twist your balls or something like that.
Yeah, that's really common in Chinese mythology.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, you came across a guy and you were mean to him or you were nice to him and he gave you something epic, or he took your balls. I would almost say that a good example of a curse would be Wukong's circlet, where the guy who like hangs out with him in Journey to the East, if Wukong ever is a piece of shit or is mean to people, the guy can start chanting and it will shrink that circlet a little bit and put pressure on his head until he stops acting like a monkey. So
yeah, that's cool. And to go,
a good curse is just beating someone over the head with a stick.
Yeah, as you do. I did have something to build up what you said, Logan. We'll just talk about negative emotions are part of it, and that's an aspect I think is neat as well, when you have that where sometimes the curse may have not been intentional, it was just a result of words. Like speaking it into existence, like by accident sometimes. I
like that.
Yeah, because I mean, that was the whole thing with Yuta, was he didn't realize it. He accidentally cursed his childhood friend and forced her to become that manifestation just because he asked her not to leave her in her final moments. And it made her be a restless spirit that always lingered with him and never left him.
That's so
super interesting. I really like that.
Yeah, and Jesus being a little slightly angry about not getting figs, like, oh, curse you, fig tree. Then he's like, oh, dadgummit.
Yeah, like petty things that just become magical.
Yeah.
You know what else I fucking think of with that is like just Beauty and the Beast, where like that guy was cursed to become more interesting than he used to be.
Yeah. What made him do that?
He like spit in an old woman's face and he told her to get out, and then she was like, I gotta sue, and then he turned into like a
how dare you?
How dare you? He turned into a big beast man. He became
got really hot.
And then
you're literally right. I thought you were making up a story, but that's literally exactly what happened.
That's literally it.
That what happens.
Go away, shitty old woman.
Go ahead.
Go away.
She's like, I gotta see you. And it's like, it was also like a fucking goofy thing of like, she was some ugly old lady, and then she turns out to be super hot, and she's just like, I curse you. And he goes, oh
no, come back.
No, I'm unfuckable. And everyone's like, no, dude.
It's like, it's literally like, it's the fucking wolfing out thing where he's like, oh no. That makes me think of the fucking funny ass.
That's turn like her away because she's ugly. That's the whole reason. Like,
come back. I didn't know you were 10.
Ugly old. Yeah.
Ugly bitches are not allowed to the function.
Look at the sign. Look at the sign.
No ugly bitches. And then she goes, oh, well, look at this. And he goes, oh. And then
guards, remove her from the gene pool.
It's good.
And it's like, it makes me think of that fucking tweet where it's like that lady that's like, you know, the worst thing about Beauty and the Beast is that the story wouldn't work if it was the other way around. Like if it was a woman that turned into the Beast, and then it's like a fuck ton of replies that like, dude. And it's like they're just like, you guys are weird, and it's like, lady, we're just saying.
We're all waiting outside.
Yeah, what if we get the male equivalent where it's just a Reddit moderator who won't stop reading literature? Everyone in the town hates him, and he's just like gets locked away in the castle. He's like, wow, you're just like the persona in the book I read.
She's like, actually, I'm okay with being a beast. Can you get out, please?
No.
I don't need help. I have a bunch of furniture.
Girl.
Would it be okay if I gave you more head pats?
Karma I have.
I'm sorry, Logan. I don't want you being disappointed in me like that.
No, that's good. No, I just that felt so real. I felt like that guy was standing on my doorstep.
He's showing you his Reddit karma. He opens up his phone. He's like, I have a 30K Reddit karma. What do you think of that?
I know I've never been here before, but I promise I lost a few Magic the Gathering cards in your hallway. Can I come in?
I'm told you have every single issue of Evangelion in your library. May I please partake in them, madame?
I want to see what condition they're in. I'm very familiar with the 5-star rating process.
Would you like me to mint your books, madame?
Jesus Christ.
Let me look at your comic book collection.
I can.
If I were her, I would bring him in and then maul him.
That's where it becomes the fucking ASMR boyfriend getting his balls mauled. ASMR Reddit boyfriend gets his balls ripped off.
Seamless. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
Look.
But yeah, honestly, now that I think about it, I think that's just a problem as curses get used for a narrative sense. Then after that, it's like, well, how does this work mechanically? And it's like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
It has to mechanically work narratively. That's just how it is.
That is kind of, because it becomes a situation where it's like, it's where a player would be like, so how does this affect blank? Like something might come up and it's like, how is this affected by that? And it's like, that's a good question. We're gonna roll with it like this, and it slowly gets like built into a thing.
Yeah.
But that's
good DMing.
But just imagine like in the middle of a game where it's like, all right, I cast my 8th level spell. I am going to turn his entire bloodline into pudding.
And his blood.
Well, they just turn into black puddings, and then that's like just a whole issue.
Black pudding's made from blood, dude.
And then you just leave that quest, you just leave that village alone for a couple generations, then it becomes another adventuring party's problem.
Yeah.
That's fun.
We must go to the Blood Pudding Kingdom. All the blood pudding.
Talk to the Pudding King.
That was actually the real ending of that campaign y'all turned into. You all got slimed at the very end of it.
Oh, no. We got Nickelodeon gacked.
Dude, oozes are scary when you really think about it.
Yeah, we knew to do.
Tune in next week.
Eventually.
Tune in next week when we talk about stinky ooze.
When we gush over ooze.
When we ooze over
Thanks for
ooze.
watching.
Don't forget to splooge.
So, I guess we get now to the $1 million question that I'm glad that Logan really coined. How have y'all really used curses in your games?
I generally try not to use them magically. Like, if someone hates another character enough to spite them or curse them, they won't use straightforward, like, curse magic. They will scheme and connive and find a way to permanently damage another character. Actually, I do have a good example. And it came from a mixed result of a devil curse and a hag like deal. So he had a deal with a hag where he would get his two dead dogs back, and then he made a deal with a devil to get a really cool axe.
Oh,
so I think I've told this story before.
Yeah, we were helping you plan out that
with
session.
hags. Yeah.
Yes.
But just layers on layers where he eventually just broke and chipped away at his soul and made himself so vulnerable that when the one thing he sort of wished for in both of those was damaged, there was nothing left. So the curse just fully took him over. It's pretty interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Turned into an evil undead shadow person. A shadow of him former self, one might say.
His persona, if you will.
Now that's pretty deep, Logan. That's pretty epic.
Yeah, Logan, I will give you that Reddit gold now. I was just busting your balls earlier, but
I appreciate my balls getting fucking busted sometimes. It reminds me I still have them.
Yeah, remember I cursed you, took away your balls, busted them, gave them back to you. Good as
no. Holds them up like a law heart. I'm gonna bust your balls.
Oh God, Law could do that.
Yeah.
He could. He'd fucking do. Hey, we got One Piece in this episode.
I already made a reference like halfway through.
Look it up.
We got our quota.
We did it. At 56 minutes, we finally mentioned one.
6 minutes in, we've mentioned one.
That's my answer.
Yeah.
I think of
Mario. It's your turn. How did you remove Baphomet's balls?
Actually, I guess there are. There's a couple ways where I've technically had curses pop up. More in the sense of like,
you said really bad, nasty words, and your mom washed your mouth out with soap.
Yeah, she
pretty
fucking
powerful curses.
Yeah, I said a slur. I said
crud.
Dookie.
The true Mexican curse. Anytime you say a swear word, a Choco comes out of nowhere and just whacks you.
Choco? You mean Chunkla?
Is that what's the sandal called?
I think it's Chunkla.
Is that
Chunkla? Yeah.
Oh, I
one of my
said it in a white
buddies
way.
always called them that, so that's why
they called them Choco Tacos.
Big old Choco. It's a fucking.
I've embarrassed myself today.
You're good. You're good. Don't worry. It's not your. It's not a language that you speak. So I don't.
If y'all couldn't tell, I am very white.
That's so wise of you, man. Yeah, really?
I was gonna make the joke of just like I said the worst slur of all, Latinx.
Even me and my whiteness know that's wrong, Mario.
Fucking but no, like
that's what I say to you and your age. Just want to mess with y'all.
Oh my God,
I think the funniest thing, not to tangent off too much, but it's like somebody was like, I was talking about how Samurai X in the fucking Latino dub is like they call it. They always have like that point where a narrator will like read the title. Because they can't read the fucking Japanese that's on the screen, but like there's the fucking point where the narrator just goes Samurai X, and I like brought that up to somebody, and they were like, "Wait, does that mean that the proper way to say Latinx is Latin X?" and I was like,
"Dos X, I didn't know."
Yes,
like
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dos X. Look at
that sounds a little better, but
it sounds better. If anything, I was like, I hate that sounds kind of right. Like it's still wrong. That's not how the language works, but I hate that it sounds nicer.
Latin X.
But like, but like, no, the way I've used curses has mostly been like, I like one big one that I remember that was interesting was basically there was a while that I had a player that was a daywalker kind of vampire, a dampire. That's what they're fucking called. And they were tied in with one of these witches that I had that was basically the vampire that caused her to get vampirism. And the whole idea was just like, oh, they are a cleric. Their deity is like a deity of light. So it was like this idea of like, oh, through the deity, it was able to kind of overcome part of the curse, but they're still stuck with like this craving for blood. And I played into it where it's just like, they're fighting these cravings. They sometimes get things out of it, and they could like taste the magic in like people's blood. Like it was like a thing of just like, oh, there's a dragonborn in the party. Like you can like the more potent like certain stuff is, the sweeter the blood. It also depends on like certain other shit, and they'll get like certain abilities. But regardless, it was like a big thing of just like, for the most part, it was big bonuses because of player bullshit. But the big downside was when they finally came across like the actual vampire. It's like, oh, you came from me. Wisdom save. But it's like this fucking thing of just immediately just like they get possessed by the vampire. They could just like automatically just give me wisdom save. I'm trying to force you to do things, or I'm trying to force you to fight your friends or some shit. Or like
nice.
Oh, they're like, yeah.
Stolen impulses, like, pretty much.
Yeah. And another thing that I guess is kind of a curse, more like almost similar to like a certain shit that you were bringing up, Logan, was like
oh no, not me again.
Technically, one of my players being an Azamar, he technically has a curse on him. Not in like literally like something that they could remove, but the fact is, being something so holy, they are a beacon to all undead around them. So all undead immediately feel.
Yeah,
it's like they went into the Shadowfell last session, and they met like a bunch of these like. There's like a cool moment where it's like, oh, there's like this time capsule preserved of like back when there was the giant and dragon war. There's a bunch of these giants and dragons that are like they've been kept docile by like this ruler of the land here. And it's like they're just forced to be these tiny, like dwarf-sized, like little shade people because they're already dead. Like they died in the war, but they're like being forced to like stay here. And they're like in this tiny little town. And there's a point where one of them basically is finally able to explain, why is it that undead always rush the cleric? And he goes, I don't like you. I'm standing right next to you, and you make me feel like tingles in my body. It feels gross. Like I could feel you from like across the room. Like there's something.
That's interesting that like abominations see you as an abomination.
Yeah, it's like this thing of like, oh, it feels gross to be like right next to you. I don't like it. And it's like literally just holy energy emitting from this fucking guy. But that was a big thing where there was an arc where there was this skeleton guy that kept coming back from the dead. He just kept coming back up, and he was this like pirate captain called Captain Bright Eyes. And he had like these like little gemstones in his skull. And it was this fucking thing where he kept finding him, and the way that he would describe it is like, he's like, I can smell you. I can sense you. Like it's this fucking thing of like, he just keeps finding the party because there's a fucking cleric right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
I like interactions like that. That's fun. I had one that was really played for laughs where like kind of the opposite of Will-O-Wisp. I have Shade-Wisp in the Shadowfell, and it's kind of become a joke in a party that since they're from the Shadowfell, they're attracted to negative emotions. So just a warlock, they're just all glued to him, and he's just like swiping him away. But Kristen's character's playing a very happy-go-lucky Haragon barbarian, and they actually move away from her whenever she comes near because she's so positive.
That's cool. Fun. I like that.
Yeah, so she So literally, I just remember like they were having a social encounter, and she's like, the entire time they're talking, I'm just chasing after them things, seeing if I can catch one.
Stop!
So it's a fun little thing of just a 3-foot rabbit just running in circles around a party trying to catch a Shane Wiz while they're trying to have a serious conversation. But,
that's fun.
Me with the curses, I really have just tried to focus more on the items because it's cool when it comes up, but it seems outside of narrative purposes, it really doesn't seem to come up much. And I was kind of in the same boat as you, Logan, where I was kind of thinking, if it's so easily removed, why is it there? So like I experimented with that where like there's higher tiers of curses of just, but that also became a narrative sense in the first place. Like, hey, this NPC got hit with this curse. Can we cure it? I'm like, not at your level, no.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So
yeah, honestly.
Oh, sorry, go on, Mark.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with that. I feel like there should be a point where it's like this curse is like a tier way too high above this spell. Like you should not be able to just remove it with a 3rd level spell slot.
Yeah, because I know I kind of messed with that identify as well, where it's like you can know known magic items, but like something that's like a completely
like you can tap into the id that people know. I would also argue that like if a magic item is too complex to understand, like if it has say charges, you can learn one of like the things it can do or something like that, where it like breaks into the complexity, but until you start using it creatively, that's fun.
Yeah.
I also really like the idea that we kind of touched on. I think it just manifested organically, but the idea that in order to solve a curse, you have to go back to its origin, and from there, like unravel it. You have to pull the plug in order to even start casting that type of magic.
I want to mess with that. I think that's a really cool idea. Like even a suggestion you had of like finding a piece of like the original werewolf that bit someone, stuff like that.
Yeah, I wrote down, so this will be something that I try to explore in my video, but the idea of either you need to find the fang of the one that bit the victim or the blood from the first vampire in that chain.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Because the only real curse I can think of that was a prevalent part of one of my campaigns was, because I've told y'all before, I ran my Feywild like it was like a fairy tale world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a big crux of that actually was the final battle in the Feywild happened in the Beauty and the Beast castle. And
hell yeah.
Yeah, so it turned out like in my world the Beast was one of the first men on Earth who when like the borders between the planes were really being established, he saw the dangers that were coming from the Feywild and was trying to keep like all the hags at bay. So the hags just put a generational curse on his on him to where he'd be confined to his castle and he could never leave. And all of the servants basically became animated objects, and I was about to say it get into a long tangent, but I think I talked a little bit about it where they took out his wife, who was a demigod, brought her back as basically their an undead hag. It was a whole thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, so technically in that whole story arc, Belle was the main villain. It was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. Just their interactions at the party were a lot of fun, and just to hit the lingering results, because it had it to where they freed him, but the hag curses have warped him to where he's pretty much an ageless man. His aging's just regressed massively because he's a half elf, but at this point he's like 770 years old, something like that.
Oh Jesus,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Old.
Yeah, so he's just pretty much gained a title, the first king in the setting I have right now, where he's just basically become the king of like the part of the woods that was sucked into the Feywild and is now still around. Party likes him. I planned on him being a one-off side villain, and they're just like, no, we're gonna free this man.
I love when shit like that happens because it is very much just like that is the input of the players of just like, you know what? I like this guy.
It was the funniest thing where he's was also the originator of all lycanthropes. And
oh yeah. I
Yeah,
remember you talking about
big
this.
beast.
Yes.
and the beast. And Austin, y'all know him from Helldivers, literally said, "Oh my god, he is the first MFer." Just as the immediate response when they found out his age and they put the timeline together, like, "Oh my god, we are not just
he was number one.
This ain't just the Feywild guy. This is the
the original G.
Yeah,
the OG.
He was him. But fun stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Now, we didn't really talk about a monster, so I guess we'd have to rate curses as a concept.
Honestly,
they're tied to monsters.
I'd give them a 5 because it's like how easy narrative use.
We haven't really used them that much, so it's not something we've really dipped our fingers into, which means they're not 100% approachable. Now that we've really thought about them and I think changed them up a bit to kind of be a little more how we'd prefer, I'll give them a strong 4, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's pretty good. I'm keeping my 5. But I agree with you.
By default, I give them.
I'm going to be the contrarian this time. I am going to give them a 3, actually, just because I feel like the defined line between magic and curses isn't broad enough to really warrant that high.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I do see that.
Because the only distinctions I can give is it is either evil forbidden magic or hag magic, because that seems to be where it's incorporated
or god magic.
Or god magic,
yeah.
So, and I don't know, like, it's not a defined enough line for me. I could see, like, if I get a solid basis for it on how I want to do it, like, so like we had some ideas we're brewing there. I could see it easily being a 4 or 5, but as it stands right now, it's a cool narrative tool, but outside of that,
Yeah.
All right. Other than that was fun.
Yeah.
Please don't curse us in the comment section.
Don't say any curse words like heck or dang or crud.
Yeah.
If you say crud,
yeah, Logan, since you cursed while pretending to be Jesus, I hate to tell you, the Catholics aren't coming for you. They gave me.
I said it really loud. That actually piqued my mic a couple times. I really got into my Jesus roleplay. Yeah, look, I saw those chickens at my dad's house, and people were selling them at real cheap. I wanted to start kicking stuff, knocking it over, And I apologize for that. I went too far.
Yeah, we apologize.
Jesus wouldn't have said alone. the F word.
Wouldn't have done
that. Okay.
Wouldn't have done it. Wouldn't have done it. It would have been like really calm and just like probably mumbled as he ripped the roots out of a little plant. Yeah.
What if he just like went George Washington on, just pulled out the axe and went cherry tree?
And one of his disciples were like, Jesus, that tree you cursed, it fell over. And he's like, yeah. Uh-huh. I took a walk last night. I was still thinking about how I didn't get my figs.
Yep. Just in the middle of sharpening it, like, it's already a table now. I'm a carpenter.
Lest you forget, I didn't have a staff yesterday. I'm a carpenter.
Oh, fuck.
I like that one stupid joke of someone who like didn't know any of Jesus's exploits but was from Nazareth, and they're like, honey, did you hear what happened to the carpenter? The guy who made our coffee table? Something horrible.
What? That guy, he did such good work. Why?
I don't know. It just says they put him up.
But like,
he's never gonna finish that order we put in.
3
days later, he's back making more coffee tables.
3 days later. a coffee table shows up at their door. It's a Jesus miracle.
Why do I just imagine Jesus like ascending, but this is the Christmas music playing?
Yeah, I was thinking of just Christmas music. I'm like, look, honey, a new coffee table. It says JC on it. What do you think this means? Like they look up to the sky. He's like T-posing in the air. He's gliding across.
Yeah, I actually heard they didn't even put him on the cross. He just stopped loading. He like disconnected for a little bit.
My mind in like the Jesus carpentry like mastery, like he just has weird carpentry powers. Went in another direction. I just imagined the Romans just like, where's the stone? It's like, yeah, he kind of built a catapult inside and just chunked it away. We don't know how he did it. He didn't have wood in there.
He used his carpentry power.
I think of that stupid Helsing joke where it's like that thing of like, or they're just like, man, not the actual Helsing thing, but like Helsing a bridge where it's just like, fuck the new pope, and it's just like this thing where they're like, Jesus was a king first and a carpenter second. It was.
That's such a good bridge, but darn it, Mario, you ruined a quota. You said the F word again. We got to end now before our souls are ruined.